Hi friends, I'm Nirmal and always be silent in 5 situations. So if you want to be a successful person, always be silent in 5 situations, as I said. As APJ Abdul Kalam has rightly said, we all know that it is important to think before we speak, but there are certain situations when it is especially important to be silent. We all know that it is important to think before we speak, but there are certain situations when it is especially important to be silent. These situations are when you are with people who are not worth your time, when you don't have anything valuable to say, when you are with the people who are not ready to listen, when you don't know the answer, and when you are not interested in the topic of discussion. Be silent in these 5 situations. When you don't have to be part of this kind of negativity, when someone is criticizing another person, when someone screams and mutters in anger and hatred, you calm that person down by keeping quiet. Try to keep quiet when someone else is emotionally share some events, situations where you should stay silent. Staying silent can often be beneficial to you, and other time it can be beneficial to those around you. Expressing your opinion is a valuable skill. There are many situations where speaking up is the best thing we can do for ourselves and for others. However, at the same time, there are other situations in which you should remain silent. And learning to identify this situation is just as valuable. So, when your judgment is clouded, the first case when you should not speak up is when you are having trouble thinking clearly. This can be for many reasons. Maybe you are tired or under the influence or full of anger or anxiety. In these situations, it's better to wait a little before you speak your mind. If you don't, it is possible that you will say something you will regret afterward. If you give your ideas time to mature and still think the same way, you can talk about it later, but not when you are compromised emotionally or in other ways. When your words will hurtful. The second situation is in which you should not speak up is when your words are more likely to be hurtful beyond being useful. Sure, there are situations when others need to hear the truth, and harsh as it may be, but these situations are rarer than we think. Consider whether the words you want to speak are going to be useful or if you are acting to hurt the other person. When we choose to be hurtful, we often are angry or tired, upset. So sometimes it's also useful to refer to the first point of this article and say when your option does not matter. The next situations when you should not speak up, when your opinion is irrelevant to others. It's never easy to admit and accept it. However, it is very important even if your ego does not agree. When you don't know enough about a situation or other people are experts, or when your opinion has no impact on others. It's often better to stay silent just because it's the best thing to do. So, so silence is the best answer to someone who does not value your word when you don't have enough evidence. Sure, in some situations, we are free to speculate and speak up even if we don't have evidence. However, this is not always true. Whenever we are talking about something that will likely have a big impact on other person, for instance on their physical and mental well-being, we should not offer information that is not certain. Say for instance that a person is considering whether to use a medications that might help them. It's best not to bring up a rumor about a friend of a friend who used that medications and had side effects unless you are certain it's a fact and not a rumor. When you asked not to speak, if recognizing that your opinion is not relevant is hard for the ego, being asked to stay silent is even harder. You might be asked to take a back seat in some situations, for instance, in some work contexts or in other circumstances, and that can make us want to speak up. However, it's the best restraint that impulse and instinct reflect. When we are being asked to stay silent, listening and learning can also be good in this. So, have you ever regretted after said, and then we realize that we should have kept quiet at that time, or it would have been better if I had not said so? This happens to everyone. So I have come to know in which situations we should stay silent and in which situations we talk. Staying silent will be powerful like a word. In the act of hugging someone as a support rather than a word in a situation, silence comes naturally to some and acts like an introvert for some. So if a person is in an angry mood, look irritated, and that person speaks loudly at you, then don't loud on that person. It would make that conversation worse because that person is in an angry mood. And if they spoke out all the things which he has inside him, then it would help calm to him. When you feel that he is calm and he is done all that, when you should ask what is the matter and try to don't angry with him. In the end, when you would have heard all the things that man said, it helps control the situation and does not make that. If you are using a word repeatedly in your conversation, it means that you are disturbing the listener, and it makes you shameless because the listener feels that you do not know what to say and you are saying it without thinking. Never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. If you do not know whether a conversation is going on or a very important discussion is going on, you will say something irrelevant or something that has nothing to do with the discussion. This will make you shameless and in front of the people. So when you don't know, then you don't keep quiet. You should keep quiet, sorry. And meaningless silence is always better than speaking meaningless words. So thanks for your time for watching my videos, and I request to all my friends to please subscribe my channel. I need your support, my friends. Thanks a lot again to watching my video.